Oh no. It's a fire episode of Believe in the Houston Texans. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calvillo, joined by my guy always, Harley Dugan. We're going to be talking about the Houston Texans matchup this Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. We are now 2-3. How do you feel about heading into this week?
I already told you from Monday's episode. I am confident that the Houston Texans and D'Amico Ryans will get a huge bounce back win going into coming back home. You got the bye week, and you can enter 3-3, 500. I'm excited.
This game's kind of important, right? Because it's right before the bye. You obviously want to go out on a high note, but being 500, the Houston Texans haven't been 500 in years, and you
Oof.
have a chance to do it at home. And I bring this up because I had a lot of comments in regarding, are the Houston Texans going to be buyers come the trade deadline? Now, I saw your tweet, I think it was yesterday,
Mhm.
and you said you're not convinced this team are buyers just yet, but with a win against the Saints and then a win against the Panthers, because the trade deadline is October 31st.
Yeah.
With 2 wins, maybe turn the notch for you a little bit.
No.
Mm.
I we talked about it last night with old John Crumpler. Shout out to the doctor. I am a surgeon, Dr. Hahn. He was fantastic night with him, but no, I just don't think so. I
Mm.
do think the Houston Texans are still a young team, and we were reminded yesterday that okay, sure, we're chugging this Kool-Aid, and there's nothing wrong to be optimistic about this team,
Mm-hmm.
but we got to understand that there are growing pains. And we realize that with the Falcons game. There are going to be games like that where this is a young head coach, young OC, yeah, first year everything, so rookie quarterback. I mean, we got to understand that there are growing pains, there are situations for this, and it's going to happen. But the Houston Texans, like, what on the trade market for
Mm-hmm.
me goes, oh, I need to go get that. Oh, I need to go buy that. When I'm just gonna go, I'm pretty confident in what I got right now with the guys at hand, and I'm gonna continue rolling with who I got and move forward with it. Jerry Judy, don't
Doesn't
he
do it
don't
for
do
you.
nothing. Don't do nothing for me. And like we mentioned last night, all of us, I thought the biggest takeaway was, why go after Jerry Judy when you can potentially get a lot better at wide receiver, whether via draft or via big name splash trade free agent later this year.
Yeah, I know. 100% agree. Maybe if you would have won last week against the Atlanta Falcons and, you put together a almost 5-game winning streak, it would be hard not to say to go be buyers. But this is a young Houston Texans team, and I feel like we forget that. And as I was waiting, for this game on Sunday, I was telling my people, I was like, man, this is I think the most I've paid attention as far as wins and losses, and I know I shouldn't be doing that with this young Houston Texans team, right? These wins, like, I should be happy for every single win, and I shouldn't take a loss to the heart. But I've been, taking the losses hard. I've been overhyping the W's. There is something with this team, and it's the growing pains, as you said. I would love if the Houston Texans go out there and made a trade, but like you said, it doesn't. Jerry Judy does not do it for me. Yeah,
Mhm.
we need a legit, true number one wide receiver. If you do go out and trade someone, maybe it's someone in the secondary on the D line. Maybe you pick up a running back off the street, but I think the wide receiver group doesn't get in touch to the offseason, like you said. But I like that we are talking about this because this wasn't
Mhm.
the conversation 2 years ago. It was, this is the worst team in the NFL, and now it's, could this potentially be a buyer come the trade deadline, being so young into their rebuild.
Yeah, it's fantastic to even have this conversation. Like, I mean, just like you mentioned, 2 years ago, this team was utter garbage. They were, I mean, were they even a part of the 32 teams in the NFL? Like,
Yeah.
it was just such a black eye and it was such a dark cloud over the city of Houston when it came to the Texans and everything around it. Whatever happened, happened. I'm glad we flushed the toilet. We got it working. It's cleaning.
Hmm.
Old plumber D'Amico's in, captain, doing his thing. Nick Casario, say whatever you want. So far, this draft's looking phenomenal. CJ Stroud looks like he is him.
Mm.
Hey, it is fantastic to finally be optimistic about this Houston Texans team. And it is also great to be talking about, huh, I the Texans don't need Jerry Judy. When
Mm.
like a year or two ago, you'd be like, yeah, I'll take him.
No, I'm just waiting, right? I'm waiting for that moment, until this team starts making the big moves. But it's just exciting to see. And speaking of CJ Stroud, how would you feel when he said that he kind of came up with the go ahead drive to Dodson Schultz? They kind of ran the same formation at him a couple of times, and normally it was, Dodson Schultz, coming in to catch a ball over the middle, but beats Jesse Bates with the amazing route, touchdown. That's franchise quarterback stuff, dude.
Yeah, that gets you the absolute goosebumps of a fan. Like, oh, whoa, okay, cool. This is fantastic to hear.
Hmm.
And he got everywhere. It was a great story to hear from CJ. It's just, man, it makes you just go, wow.
Hmm.
We really got something special here at quarterback. We really got the guy. And he mentioned it with Dalton Schultz doing the play a few times before, noticing that Jesse Bates, not only on film in previous games, but in this game, would not step up inside with Dalton Schultz,
Hmm.
but was lurking. Like, he's reading the play.
Yeah.
He knows that if he sees that again, he's going to step up and get the INT. And that's what he was looking for. And CJ Stroud changes, talks to Schultz, does the old, here's a football. Okay, you
That's
do
what it
this.
was.
I mean, that's all it is, backyard football like we've done 1,000 times. Like, hey, you're going to run a fade, you're going to run an inside, you're going to run a slant, and you're going to do this. And then you draw it up on the football, and hey, there you go. And Jesse Bates, by the way, hell of a route by Dalton Schultz. Jesse Bates broke on it, though. He thought he was going inside, and he was banking on the INT for the game. And Dalton Schultz, CJ Stroud say, nope. Here you go, Dalton, wide open, back of the end zone. Tutty. That's how you do it down here in H-Town. That's fantastic to hear, man. Get you going, man. Get you excited. Gets the blood pumping to hear that.
I was watching the QB school and they broke
Mm,
down, that play, but he also talked about how CJ Stroud throws with so much anticipation that when he gets a very good wide receiver, they are going to be dangerous together, man. I'm just feels like this team's about to take off, but a tough matchup against the New Orleans Saints, who put up an ass whooping against the Patriots, two
oh,
interceptions. Former Houston Texan safety Tyrann Mathieu got his hands on one, took it back to the crib. Their defensive line, almost 34% pressure, on the QB. Back to back weeks, this Houston Texan offensive line has not allowed a sack. The question going into this game for me is the running game, Harley,
mm,
because it has yet to do anything. Now you have to start looking at this running back group and say, what is going on? Is it Damian Pierce? Is it Devin Singletary? There was a tweet today talking about he declined to talk to the media, but DJ Bieniemy said that he wasn't there. But the running game needs to get going.
Yeah, for sure, man. It has been non existent besides the Steelers game. Steelers game was a fantastic just overall balanced game. You
Mm,
got your run game, you got your pass game, and you did a fantastic offense that day. And it was just a holy matrimony. It was a great marriage. So if the Texans want to be successful, they have to somehow
mm,
they have to get a run game going. I mean, we know this. This is a Gary Kubiak offense. This is a Gary Kubiak scheme. We know that the run game creates everything for this offense with the play actions, the passes. It's the whole setup, And again, I keep mentioning John Crumpler, but he had pulled a quote from Bobby Slowick from July 28th, talking about you know when the offensive line is at their A game, Damian Pierce is at his A game.
mm,
And that right there, you haven't had the offensive line be at their A game. And at this point, there's not much excuses to continue giving to Damian Pierce, it feels like.
mm,
I mean, they're getting 0 sacks. Now it's starting to the question of, is Damian Pierce the right scheme fit? Are the offensive line guys the right scheme fit? Now, it's got people wondering because
mm,
we didn't really expect this from Damian Pierce. These questions are valid. All right. These are valid questions. Overall, I do think it's a little bit of everyone's fault
mhm,
with the run game. One of it being Damian Pierce, the other being the offensive line. Like, sure, Damian's going to hold a lot of that, the weight of the problem there, but the O line not being healthy is a thing. Like, it is a thing. Like, we know the O line isn't healthy, and we know that Damian Pierce behind a healthy offensive line should manufacture, you would believe, the results that you
mhm,
want him to make in this offensive scheme. What's unacceptable is Devin Singletary getting 0 carries last week. That is what I
Dale
have
got
more of a
more.
problem. Exactly. I have more of a problem with that than anything,
Mhm,
because Singletary at times has hit that hole a little bit faster than Damian Pierce, has done that, has that one cut ish kind of, style to him. And my thing is okay, then why'd you sign him if you're not going to give him a single carry? And
facts.
that's what upset me. And that's what upset me about Bobby Slowick a little bit last week was we didn't see no screens that
Mhm,
set up that beautiful game against the Steelers. And we didn't see 0 carries for Devin Singletary. That is just unacceptable. Moving forward, as much success as you had with the
mhm,
screen game, it has to be implemented some way, somehow into this game, into the season, week by week. So that is what I have to say about the Ren game. It's a bit confusing. It is. But these are valid questions we're having.
mhm.
Again, we all bet the over on Damian Pierce this year in season rushing yards and touchdowns, man. It's been quite ridiculous so far.
Yeah, I don't know if he could go with another 1 to 2 games of this bad stretch. You hope Pierce figures it out because he was supposed to be the offense for this Houston Texans this year. It was supposed to go through him, not through CJ Stroud. And like I mentioned, in the other episode, imagine if CJ Stroud wasn't this good. The
Mm.
criticism for Damian Pierce and his performances, they would be much louder than what they are right now. Is this going to be a Nico Collins statement game going up against a very good cornerback? And I'm a little bit worried for Nico. Why? Because Tank Dell won't be there. I don't think so. Was limited in today's practice, is questionable for the game. It's very rare to pass this concussion test protocol in 1 week. Do not think Tank Dell's going to be there. So it's going to be on Nico Collins. Everyone is going to be looking at him. If he has a good showing against this New Orleans Saints secondary, then maybe you have something. But it's going to be so huge for Nico Collins to be successful in this game. And I am expecting another big game from tight end Dawson Schultz.
Yeah, I do question about Nico. If AJ Terrell, shuts you down pretty well, And what's Marshawn Lattimore going to do to you,
Yeah,
buddy? Marshawn Lattimore is a legit
legit.
cornerback. He's been doing it for years out of Ohio State. Yeah, out of Ohio State. Been doing it there too. He is a legit cornerback, and this is a big test for Nico Collins. And this goes back to the question I have: is Nico Collins a legitimate wide receiver one? I definitely don't think so. I still believe he is a really good wide receiver two in a very low end wide receiver one until he has a performance against a good cornerback. Then I can put him into that atmosphere of, oh, okay, maybe he is dancing around wide
Mm.
receiver one. To me, he's just a really good to great wide receiver two, and I think he's been highlighted so much from C.J. Stroud. This is what a good to great quarterback does to wide receivers like this. He makes them better, makes the team better. So Nico's going to have a handful against Marshawn Lattimore. Dalton Schultz has to have another big game.
Hmm.
This could be his third game where maybe he gets another touchdown. He's had back-to-back touchdowns the last 2 weeks. So, hey, get him in there again against the Saints. Hopefully, you got him rocking and rolling. You're going to need a big game from him. Like you said, no Tank Dell. I don't think he plays this week at all. I just don't think so. Again, the concussion protocol's been even more strict this year with the NFL. So I don't think Tank Dell is playing. I want to see John Mechie,
X Factor,
and
man.
that is the guy for me. John Mechie is somebody we got to see some more of,
Hmm.
especially this week. I don't want to see Noah Brown. I don't want to see Noah Brown. And there's no offense to him. It's whatever. But Noah Brown don't do nothing for me. John Mechie, yeah, you can sell me on a guy that put his body on the line to go block TJ Watt. Yeah, I need that guy to get more snaps.
Mm.
I mean, he sold me. Like I'm obviously always a fan of him, but Mechie doing that, oh yeah, he needs to get a lot more snaps. I see the comment section wants Xavier Hutchinson. Maybe we get to see
Mm.
some Hutchinson. Maybe not. I'm not quite sure how they're gonna fit him in there. We did get to see. I think we saw a very few snaps of him last week
Hmm.
against the Falcons when Tank Dell went out. I just question what's going to happen with this team. Tank Dell stretches that field for you, and now you don't got a guy like that. And CJ, he likes him some Tank Dell. He uses him quite a bit, especially when he's rolling out of the pocket. It always seems like Tank Dell is on the move, and he connects to him for a good chunk of yardage.
Hmm.
So without Tank Dell there, who is going to be that guy? Who's going to be that guy to get that big yard gain? Is it going to be John Mechie or is it going to be Dalton Schultz? Or hell, do we get to see a little Brevin Jordan maybe? Brevin Jordan had a huge game against the Steelers. It was the Steelers.
He had a
I think it
touchdown
was
against
the
the
Steelers.
Steelers.
Yeah, he had a huge game against the Steelers. Hey, maybe Brevin Jordan has maybe a mismatch with the Steelers. I mean, with the Saints. Who knows? I'm willing to bet Mechie. I'm willing to bet these guys, and I'm hoping this works out for the Texans. I still do think though. I'm gonna guarantee it, buddy. Guarantee. Old Charles Barkley on you. Guaranteeing huge bounce back win with the Texans.
Can you imagine John Mechie becomes that guy this game? Is it okay for now we start asking for John Mechie to produce a little bit more? Like
Yeah, I think it's okay.
1 to 2 catches every week. Yes, that's fine. But now that no Tank Dell, Noah Brown coming back from IR, you know, you need him to show why you traded up to go get him. And, as if he does good, his story blows up.
Is
Oh
this the
man,
week?
it's
Is,
tough not having
is
Tank Dell there, which is crazy, right? We are
this
talking
the week?
about
Give me
a
a
third.
minute. Is this the week? Do you think is this the week? This is a huge interruption. Do you think it's the week that we get this? We get this action? You think it's that week?
Hasn't had a touchdown.
Ooh,
Man,
we get that at. This is a great interruption.
are
Okay,
we are we calling it? Are we
we
predicting a
calling a
John Mechie touchdown?
little ninja celebration. Woo!
Cobra Kai never dies.
Oh, okay. You know what? We're guaranteeing it. Screw it. What do
Okay,
we got to lose?
let's do
What do we
it.
got to
Let's
lose?
guarantee a
Give me the over.
touchdown for John Menchie. Bobby said it himself. Tegan had a
Mm,
huge play last week on that roll live from
true.
CJ shot. Maybe we do get the tight ends more involved, but we gotta see. And when you have number 7 back there, you think you could do
Mm,
something.
mm.
And it feels so good to say that. And if this is a CJ Stroud game, it's over, brother. It's over. It's over.
I got the better quarterback. And at the end of the day, who got the better quarterback usually wins the game, right? I mean, Saints got a fantastic defense. Derek Carr has been a very inconsistent, slow offense. Alvin Kamara is going to be a factor for them. But I need that defense to do their thing. They did a great job against B. John. They did everything you wanted them to do against the Falcons. It's
Exactly.
just Desmond Ritter just decided to have a game. But again, at home, and that's the biggest thing. People keep forgetting. This game is at home.
Is
We are
there
coming
a
home.
home foot ad- home foot advantage now?
Oh, big
Whoa.
time. Big
Whoa.
time. That Steelers game, when it was about, I want to say 60-40 Texans fans compared to Steelers, the Steelers represented. Shout out to them. But boy, were they quiet
Mm.
when CJ and company were marching down that field and had not one, not two, not three penalties in the end zone. And each time they had a penalty, they had not one, not two, but three touchdowns. Every single time, they just did not care. They
Mm.
disrespected the Steelers. I expect, again, man, I'm expecting huge bounce back win. You're at home. There's going to be a lot of Saints fans. And I'm going to tell you something. That tailgate, I know you're going to probably be at that tailgate. You better be at that tailgate because there's going to be some good ass food and some great people vibing for
You
the
gonna be
Saints
there?
Texans game. I might think about it. I ain't gonna lie. I might think about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, shout out to the Enough Said tailgaters. I do. Joey does a fantastic job. It's just you go expect to get just trashed. They got the St.
Yep.
Arnold's brew out there. They got 3 different flavors. It's like an endless tub. Then they got about 20 bottles that you could just take a shot from. Then they have this big old fire truck that has Fireball, lemon drop, and I think tequila just pouring out of a nozzle. And the wife said it's the only time I could get drunk in the AM. So I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this Sunday. It's gonna be a great game. And I'd like to drop an announcement. We'll probably be live streaming the game. Moving the house around. Gonna have a little small media room. It's gonna be packed. Me and the boys watching the game, getting lit. Excited, man. Hopefully we get some great reactions for you guys. So make sure y'all hop in on Sunday. And as we get back before we end this video, the Saints offense, any moment they could have a big play.
Yes.
They have 2 very good wide receivers. Michael Thomas, Chris
Chris
Olave.
Olave. Oof.
And it did hurt not having Shaq Griffin last week. We are going to see Jason Verrett, the Houston Texans' newly signed cornerback. Thing about Verrett, man, he's just cannot stay healthy. Hasn't played a game since 2021. I do think he starts this Sunday
Oof.
with Shaq being out. And hey, if you can make a play when not playing a game in almost 2 years, shout out to you. I think this might be the game we see the secondary get a little bit beat up. I mean, you
Mm.
got 2 very good wide receivers, plus a speedster who they could throw to whenever they need a deep play. It's gonna be a huge test, man. And this game, it's gonna tell us a lot about this Houston Texans team because we were so confident heading into Atlanta, so confident, and they punched you in the mouth. It was a gut check. And now it's what type of performance are you going to bring on Sunday? What is going to be your reaction from losing to the Atlanta Falcons? And if the Houston Texans go out there and they win, and just like Harley is guaranteeing, a win, it says a lot about this young Houston Texans team, a lot about this coaching staff that you could overcome losses and you're just turning the next page as a football team. So I am so excited for this game. A lot of storylines that you could build off of if you win.
Yeah, it's should be a fantastic game. Alvin Kamara is definitely going to pose some trouble. I know you contain to be John Robinson and
Wow.
Robinson, and you did a really good job at that, to be honest.
Mhm.
But if whatever B. John Robinson is right now is a rookie, Alvin Kamara is that by 5 times because he is him. He is definitely that dude. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, like you mentioned, they got weapons. Um, what's his name? I think his name is Jawan Johnson, the tight end for
Mm.
the Saints. And then you can't forget we
Old
did play
man
them in the
Jimmy Graham.
preseason, and Jimmy Graham just ate the Texans up.
Mm.
Absolutely ate them up. For some reason, flashed back all the way to his good old days from 2013 or whatever he was good in. So that was weird and random. I don't expect that. But you do make a good question. When you provide a good question, when is this Texan secondary going to break? Kadar Holman last year had a fantastic game against the Falcons, in a game that I didn't expect. I thought last week was okay. This is going to be a little bit tougher than usual. No Shaq Griffin, Kadar Holman, last minute. Here you go, buddy. You're getting thrown into the fire,
Mm-hmm.
and he held his own. Now you're gonna have, you know, Taysom Hill is a wild card. You do gotta. They definitely are going to be game planning for that if you're the Texans. So, um, but what was I saying? Man, I lost my train of thought.
Talking about the
Wow.
no, we're talking about their
Their
tight end,
offense.
their offense. Kadar Holman playing really good
There we
last
go.
week.
There we go.
Playing good really last
Jason
week.
Verrett. That's what I was going to get into. Bear with us, everybody. It's been some no sleep days for some of us. All
Yeah,
right.
we got lit
Uh,
last night, man.
oh man, we were very very excited last night. All right, Philly's got that dub. Yee yee. So Jason Verrett, that's what I was wondering is when is this secondary going to break?
Yeah.
When is this secondary going to break? And Holman didn't show that last week. Is it going to be this week?
Mm.
Jason Verrett, when healthy, has been a fantastic player. Again, emphasis on when healthy. He does know this scheme, so I am confident in that. He played with D'Amico Ryans in San Francisco just a few years ago. And I am confident that he can come in here and play well. I mean, but am I confident he's going to play for all 4 quarters? Maybe not. I hate to say that. It's just how his career has gone. So I need a better game out of the safeties. Last week was a little bit of an average game from
Mm-hmm.
everyone, really. But I need Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie to step it up. I need that secondary. They're the strength of this team, and I need them to step it up and showcase to everybody why they are the strength of this team. It's going to be a huge test this week against the Saints.
Does Will Anderson Jr. get his first sack?
Second, because he got his first one against the
I'm
Ravens.
sorry. Does he get his first sack in 5 weeks? 4 weeks?
Ah, man. You know what? Derek Carr isn't very mobile,
Okay.
and that pressure rate sooner or later has got to equate to a sack, man. Damn it.
Man.
It's a little frustrating. I get it. It's frustrating. It certainly is. What you did to trade up for him, so yeah, the frustrations are building a little bit within the Texans fan base. Just be patient, guys. Will Anderson is that guy. He is that dude. He is going to get a sack. I'm going to say he gets a sack. I think this Texans are going to have a bounce back win, and I think the defense is going to be really good this Sunday against the Saints. They had a horrible game against the Colts, but that team was really banged up. and they showed up and showed out against the Steelers. Home field advantage is back here in H-Town, and it is great to say that.
I cannot believe you're saying that. Like CJ Stroud talked about how the game against the Colts it wasn't as packed, and then the
Yeah.
game against the Steelers was jam packed. Right, the fact that he said it was the first time I did not play in a packed stadium. As we end this episode, Harley, you have been guaranteeing a win. But what is the score prediction for this Sunday's matchup against the New Orleans Saints?
I did say in my video that I will be posting in a little bit, it's going to be an ugly win. I do believe that I feel like this is where I was thinking the Steelers game would go. An ugly win, gritty, defensive kind of game. And I definitely think that the Texans are going to pull this out,
Mm.
and the defense is going to stop the New Orleans Saints from tying this game. It's going to be CJ Stroud leading the team again to a game-winning field goal behind Kaimi Fairbairn. 20-17 is what I got. The Houston Texans win by 3. They look good in doing it. They play a very solid game. The defense shows out, and they do a phenomenal job against the New Orleans Saints and company, regardless of the weapons we said. That offense for New Orleans has been inconsistent. It has been slow, and it's not going to start up here in Houston. I'll tell you that right now. Woo.
Let's go.
Mm.
This Houston Texans crowd is going to be the X factor, like Harley said. You know, I wasn't there at the game,
Ooh.
but I was there at the tailgate, and it was the most
Mm.
packed I've seen it in absolute years. Look, you
Oof.
want to talk about the legend of CJ Stroud growing? If he goes out there and beats the Saints, there is no question who's to be the offensive rookie of the year. It is CJ Stroud. It seems like whatever these teams throw at him, he is ready. I'm going to go ahead and say 28-21. I'm going to say
Okay.
the Houston Texans are in control, but the Saints find some ways to score and they make it very scary at the very end. I'm going to go ahead and say this defense steps up, and just like you say, we in the game. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of today's episode. Hardy, let them know where they could find you.
You can find me at the lead _HOU Houston. You type it into all your social media accounts. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. So make sure you are tuned in, you are subscribed, you hit that bell for the notifications to turn on. Make sure you are tuning in to the Believe in Texans podcast. It has been a fire episode of the Believe in Texans podcast. And man, make sure you are streaming it anywhere where you stream all your podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever podcast
We
platform
have
you
a couple
use.
5 stars.
Yeah, man, we got a couple. Make sure y'all dropping those 5-star reviews
Mm-hmm.
on the podcast. I cannot stress that enough. We need those 5 stars. We love to get it. So make sure you're telling your friends, your family, all about us. Believe in Texans. Next podcast up in this Houston, man. We up, man. We up.
We up and we're going to be stuck. I am so excited for this game on Sunday, man. You know, I had a little itch right there. You know, I'm growing. You see what's crazy is like I don't have this little patch right here. So I'm
That's
trying
crazy
to
to me.
it's just horrible. Like I don't know what's going on. I wasn't born, I wasn't born with that porn stash right there. It hurts. You don't have to rub it in. Well, that being said, yeah, dude, I can't even grow that, dude. No, I'm sorry.
It's tough, bro.
Bro. Well, my
It's
nuts,
tough.
it's hairy, bro. It's crazy. It's jungle. It's insane. But I guess wasn't blessing the facial area part. But thank you, everyone, for being a part of today's episode. You can find me just typing on YouTube 713 Houston Sportcast. We will be going live on Sunday. Be there with us. Have a blessed night, guys.